can start after this plane goes. Alright. Welcome to the realm of Millenia. Be ye man, woman, child, spirit, creature, or the Mahan. Be ye a native migrator or maybe even an invader into the realm. Welcome, for I am your host, the Millenia Mailman, here today. And I'm going to do this part 2 of the DNA and lineage conversation because it is a Tourism Tuesday, as I will be world building for you long after you've already begun to acclimate and fit in. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy this Tourism Tuesday as we build on the lore for the Realm of Millenia series book I'm working on. Right? But yes, last video I expounded on and expressed and explained the whole idea of the general idea of DNA and lineage and how it works in my book, and how it correlates, connects, and very much at times diverges from DNA and lineage in the real world. I exemplified that and expounded on that in the first one. I'm gonna give you the short, brief version here before I continue to expound on that. The way DNA works in the real world is two people, reproductive organs and eggs and fertilization create a genetic match to both mother and father in the real world. So you are quite literally always going to be both the product of your mother and father. In the realm of Millenia, though, there is a very big aspect of, since it is a digital fantasy world, where in order to get rid of some of the potential plot holes and potentially errors that I might have in the genetics aspect of characters, in order to alleviate any plot holes that may have occurred from my ignorance on the subject matter, I chose to diverse and change how DNA and lineage may work in the novel by saying, instead of a particular level of splicing going on between a male and female during the reproductive consummation act and stuff, there is, after the reproductive act and fertilization, it's up to the system of this digital world. It's always ultimately up to the system and exactly what happens. And the system is going to always choose to flip a coin and be like heads or tails. Is this aspect, like your hair, your eye color, your body shape, your body size, is that going to be predominantly modeled after your mother's side of the family, or directly your mother, or is it modeled after your father or your father's side of the family, and what happened there? Or is it going to be the other way around? And because it always is a flip of the coin, there is potential for the child to basically be a one-for-one carbon copy clone of the mother or the father, because while unlikely, there is a chance that you could always flip heads or always flip tails. So there, I made the possibility, like, hey, after you reproduce, engage in the reproductive action, there's a potential where you could quite literally have an exact replica of yourself in your child. Your child comes out to be exactly like the person you reproduce with, right? So, and that fixes the loopholes. Believe it or don't, be mad about it or not, that actually does fix all the loopholes to it. And I talked about a few of the nuances in video part 1. I'm going to talk about the rest of some nuances and why I chose it to be like that in this part 2 while reading off the page. So, stop it. Stupid windy day. So, the first point here is I have it like that For a loophole that is definitely a spoiler, I'm not going to mention that one. Next plot point would be the aspects of transmigrators and reincarnation, where in a lot of religious texts and beliefs, reincarnation is done a certain way. The way a particular way I chose to go about reincarnation in other ways is whether or not someone is a DNA or genetic match to a predecessor. It's to say, like, if a child born right now, like right here in front of me, was a perfect genetic match to one of their ancestors, that would create the opportunity for said ancestor from beyond the grave to be reincarnated into this new generation, because this new generation, being newly fresh born, has no memories of their own yet. They just have the genetic memory of their ancestor. So that creates a genetic circumstantial DNA compatibility that would allow for an ancestor to be reincarnated into the new generation and live on once more, right? So that is one plot point I have. So where lineage would matter and be important. And then I have another aspect to like this lineage where after your genetic, like DNA compatibility match to other people, you can inherit some of their memories or some other talents and stuff. So you can benefit from their prior accomplishments because there's a compatibility thing there. It's not a compatibility issue, it's a compatibility inheritance, kind of like lineage, right? So part of the whole DNA and lineage aspect amongst a number of the characters and character families and sex going on, clan aspects for the book series in this realm of Millenia. Part of that is lineage and inheritance, and how certain religious groups and cultures go about describing that. I chose to make DNA the way it is in order to be compatible to all of those simultaneously while covering up as many loopholes as possible. So, for the sake of transmigration, I included caveats to real world circumstances because transmigrators transmigrated into the realm of Millenia, while those reincarnating are basically like compatible matches to someone newly alive or something, right? That aside, there are other natural limitations to it between like migrated souls and spirits, and how after you die there's a shifting that's being occurred throughout different religions, and there are nuances amongst that I studied heavily before including them into the novel. And if you think I'm describing anything weird funkily, especially as it may pertain to a particular religion or group's beliefs on reincarnation, transmigration, and so on and so forth, by all means put it down in the comments section. I will eventually get to it and read it, because I do not want to misrepresent any particular culture, okay? The big thing about my novel and how I'm choosing to go about writing it and sharing it is that I do not want to inaccurately screw with anyone's particular religion or their beliefs or anything. And it's because I'm not ever attacking or trying to defame or deface or slander especially religious beliefs and concepts, okay? So I'm trying my best to integrate everything as best as possible and make it cohesive properly without misrepresenting, right? So if I do ever get anything wrong, let me know so I can revocate some things or retcon and fix the problem. Preferably put it down in the comment section and I see it prior to publishing, but if not, I will come out with a new book or a memo that invalidates and corrects anything in a published book I have out, right? But yes, reincarnation and compatibility, those are particular things there. Stop. Stupid wind. Yeah. This other plot point here I have just mentions that certain cultures do have very distinct novel-esque ideals and concepts about reincarnation, the afterlife, and through my various research studies and stuff, it's just that particular next point is just basically saying that everything I already said, and how I'm trying to scientifically weave in and be inclusive of the various cultures and beliefs properly without misrepresentation. That's all that says. But yes, ultimately, I'm gonna just say this final line and cut the video. Ultimately, the DNA aspect of lineage and everything is the way the Millenia, realm of Millenia and the Millenia system has it is very much directly tying and connecting the people living to their ancestors, and this particular way of describing like the lineage inheritance factors between and amongst the characters through namely like bloodlines and blood ties of that flip a coin scenario of whose blood are you getting? who is compatible to you, right? The bloodline factors that can have their narrative plots and guidelines for fun tie-ins. So one of the fun tie-ins, that's not fun, that's fan. I'm going the route of trademarking this, by the way, so it can be relatively open source. So like if any one of you guys who like my book and like my novel ideas, you can make your own fan connection and tie-ins to the realm of Millenia. Kind of like people do fan-based parodies on Dragon Ball, or fan-based parodies of the Marvel or DC universe, or fan-based parodies of the many animes out there. I'm making it so, I made it so I own the trademark to the book that I'm doing, and anyone else can freely abide by copyright laws and write any fan-based parody or fan tie-ins that I can approve of to become official renditions of stuff going on in the realm of Millenia. But ultimately what I want to do is when I come across a fan parody or fan tie-in that I like, I will just give you a universe number the same way Marvel has done, like Marvel Universe 626 and so 1973 and universe. I just want to make it so the way I own the trademark, what I'm more likely often than not going to do is give your fan idea concept of something going on a dimensional distinction of like, okay, your version is dimension blah, dimension blah, dimension blah, right? So Marcus over there wants to make his own fan universe or backstory scenario. I'm going to designate his fan creation to be universe 1000, 1200, blah, 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 blah. And if Sarah also has a fan tie-in that I like, I'll give her this copyright to dimension, blah, 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 right? Because that is part of... Stop. That... Because the way I'm doing DNA and everything in order to fix loopholes, that is probably going to be the best way in order to keep the concept open source, so that we can be interactive and respectful of my trademark to this novel and the book series, while we spread the word and share to have this book published and stay awesome. Right? So, hey, that is just me, your Millenia Mailman here. Before I get frustrated, go ahead, like, comment, share anything down in the comment section down below. I very much do look at all of the comments as often as possible in order to... I'm so frustrated that the wind is coming, but good thing I'm done. Like, comment, share the video for more exposure. Subscribe if you feel like it and want to be informed about the days that I post. Go ahead, dislike the video if you don't. That lets me know that there's something I need to fix on the video. Again, like the video or comment down below if you like the video or agree with anything I had to say, or just want me to know something. I do read the few comments I get directly often as possible, and if you ask them questions and want answers, I will answer any non-spoilers for you, or I'll address your question in another video so that you can stay as informed as possible. But 2 questions that were risen before were definitely spoiler questions because they actually are in the main novel, so I'm not answering those. But thank you for raising those questions. Right? I love the fact that you are asking those questions, but those questions were very much actually in the main novel, so they're not something I'm going to answer on a Tourism Tuesday or a Millenia Mailman Monday. Because I don't want to spoil the book, because I want you to be able to enjoy the book. But by all means, that's just me, and I'll be pumping out more content faster than the gears can turn that way. So go ahead. Peace. Bye-bye.